Hello there, very good morning and welcome to the Breakfast News. I'm Tracy Shilshi. Today marks the 8th anniversary of the 26/11 attacks, and across the country, especially in Mumbai, people paying homage to the brave hearts and the victims of the 26/11 attacks. But apart from that, a lot making news this Saturday morning. Here are the headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says demonetization empowered common man, while critics are flustered as they didn't get time to prepare. Opposition seeks apology for the remarks. Centre informs Rajya Sabha environment not conducive for holding meaningful talks with Pakistan, while Islamabad says they are open to talks but only on the condition that Kashmir dispute is a part of it. Tata Steel removes Cyrus Mistry as chairman. Extraordinary general meeting of shareholders on the 21st of December to seek a removal of Mistry and independent director Nusli Wadia. 6.7 quake hits southern China's Xinjiang region. Reports say one death has been confirmed so far. Epicenter of the quake located at the depth of 10 kilometers. And India to take on England in a third match of the 5-match Test series in Mohali today as they look to take an unassailable 2-0 lead. Our top focus this morning: a minimum of 50% tax may be levied on unexplained bank deposits made during the banned currency notes up to 30th of December. This will come along with a 4-year lock-in period for half of the remaining amount. The government plans to bring in Parliament the amendments to the tax law shortly. However, a higher 90% tax and penalty could be imposed if assessees do not declare the unaccounted cash voluntarily. Cash deposits made using the scrapped 500 and 1000 rupee notes above a threshold that are declared to income tax authorities may attract 50% tax as per the amendment to the Income Tax Act approved by the Cabinet last night. Half of the remaining deposits, or 25% of the original deposit, will not be allowed to be withdrawn for 4 years. In case such deposits are not declared and are detected by tax authorities, a total of 90% tax and penalty would be charged. The government had, after the shock demonetization, given a 50-day window beginning the 10th of November for either depositing the scrapped notes in circulation or exchanging them for new currency. And this happening, in fact, hours after Prime Minister Narendra Modi once again put forth the government's point of view on demonetization on Friday. At a function held inside Parliament premises, the Prime Minister said that some people had amassed illegal wealth by misusing and misinterpreting the Constitution and the law of the land. He also justified the decision to ban big denomination notes.
As the debate over demonetization continues, Prime Minister Narendra Modi once again made some remarks on the issue. At a book launch event in Parliament premises, the PM said there was opposition to the move just because the sudden announcement did not give people the time to turn their black money into white.
मैं समझता हूं कि मुद्दा ये नहीं है कि सरकार ने पूरी तैयारी नहीं की। ऐसे लोगों की पीड़ा इस बात की है कि सरकार ने किसी को तैयारी करने का समय नहीं दिया।
After the event in the national capital, the Prime Minister headed to Bhatinda, where he reiterated his resolve to fight black money and corruption.
भ्रष्टाचारियों को फिर से अगर उठने नहीं देना है, काले धन वालों को उठने नहीं देना है, तो मैं देशवासियों से आग्रह करता हूं कि आप अपने मोबाइल फोन में ही बैंक का ब्रांच बना दो।
However, these statements from the Prime Minister failed to pacify the opposition. They say that all opposition parties back the government in the fight against black money, but the Prime Minister was misleading the public. Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi also demanded that the Prime Minister make a statement in Parliament.
जो हमारे प्रधानमंत्री हैं वो लोकसभा में आकर डिस्कशन नहीं करते। मेन इशू ये है, जैसे प्रधानमंत्री लोकसभा में आएंगे दूध का दूध पानी का पानी हो जाएगा। वो अंदर नहीं बैठना चाहते हैं।
पूरे विपक्ष को बेईमान बता देना सारे देश को, ये एक प्रधानमंत्री को अच्छा नहीं लगता, उनको शोभा नहीं देता। ऐसा नहीं करना चाहिए। नेचुरली नेताओं विपक्ष में नाराजगी है और विपक्ष माफी की मांग कर रहा है।
यदि प्रधानमंत्री जी सही मायने में ईमानदार हैं और इसके पीछे उनका कोई अपना राजनीतिक स्वार्थ नहीं है, तो फिर यही बात इनको संसद के अंदर बोलने में दिक्कत क्यों जा रही है?
It shows PM is also desperate and disturbed at his own decision, which has put the entire country into turmoil, and it has subjected common people in hardships. Now PM is trying to blame the entire opposition.
Since the announcement banning 500 and 1,000 rupee notes on November 8, the country's politics has revolved around the issue. The opposition has been demanding the Prime Minister's statement on demonetization inside Parliament. With inputs from Panchanan Mishra, Bureau Report for Rajya Sabha TV.
So Rajya Sabha proceedings were affected on Friday over the opposition's demand for an apology from the PM for allegedly implying that they support black money. The government, of course, rubbished the allegations, but the standoff between the government and the opposition led to several adjournments through the day, paralyzing legislative business.
For the 7th day in a row, the stalemate over the demonetization issue disrupted the upper house of Parliament. The Prime Minister's rebuke to critiques of demonetization didn't go down well with the opposition parties. Upping the ante against the Prime Minister, the opposition joined ranks in condemning his statement outside Parliament and demanded his apology.
प्रधानमंत्री जी ने आज सुबह कहा कि अपोजिशन इज फेवरिंग ब्लैक मनी। ये तो पूरे सदन का अपमान है, ये पूरी अपोजिशन का अपमान है। कल हमने प्राइम मिनिस्टर की प्रेजेंस में बता दिया था कि हम ब्लैक मनी के खिलाफ हैं। हमने जब बताया कि एंटायर अपोजिशन ब्लैक मनी के खिलाफ है, तो फिर प्रधानमंत्री जी आज कैसे कह सकते हैं कि अपोजिशन पार्टीज ब्लैक मनी के फेवर में है? इसके लिए माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी को सदन में अपोजिशन से माफी मांगनी चाहिए।
माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी हाउस के अंदर ना बोलते, हाउस के बाहर बार-बार ये कह रहे हैं और आज भी उन्होंने इस बात को दोहराया है कि यदि अपोजिशन को 72 घंटे का समय दे दिया जाता इस फैसले को लेने से पहले, तो शायद ये मेरा विरोध नहीं करते, मेरी तारीफ करते। ये इन्होंने एक तरीके से अपोजिशन के को ऊपर हमला बोला। ये कहा है कि हम लोग काले धन का समर्थन कर रहे हैं।
ये कहा गया कि पूरा अपोजिशन को यदि हम पहले बता देते तो सारा अपोजिशन अपना काला धन बचा लेता। तो सादा आपके साथ बैठ करके ये जो बात कही गई है कि सारा अपोजिशन जो है वो पूरी तरह से इस काले धन के बारे में इसलिए नाराज है कि इनको बताया नहीं गया था। ये बहुत गंभीर आरोप है, इसलिए प्रधानमंत्री को आकर के इस मामले में
Everyone who opposes this policy, that does not mean he is a saint and we are all devils. Why is he having this problem?
The government was quick to refute all the claims of the opposition and criticize it for the continuing disruption.
सदन उसका नोटिस नहीं लेगा। ये तो आप पहली दफा मैं सुन रहा हूँ सर। ये तो मैं पहली दफा सुन रहा हूँ।
The Congress, TMC and BSP members entered the well demanding Prime Minister's apology. The impasse stalled 0 hour and question hour. Even in the post-lunch session, the logjam persisted. With little signs of reconciliation, the chair adjourned the House till Monday.
House stands adjourned till 11 a.m. on Monday.
With inputs from Vishal Dhaya and Panchanan Mishra, Kriti Mishra, Rajya Sabha TV.
And left parties in West Bengal, including the CPIM and CPI, have called a 12-hour statewide strike on the 28th of November to protest against demonetization. West Bengal Chief Minister and TMC Chief Mamata Banerjee has, however, refrained from supporting that strike. However, 18 left parties will participate in it. Banks, ATMs, health and milk distribution services have been kept out of the purview of the strike, and asked if the left front would approach TMC for support since it has also opposed the demonetization move and called a rally on Monday. The left said that they will approach Mamata Banerjee. The Chief Minister, though, said that there will be no bandh in the state on the 28th of November, but a protest march will definitely be carried out against demonetization. In her tweet, Mamata Banerjee is saying during the meeting of opposition parties in Delhi, a bandh was never discussed or agreed upon. We do not support any bandh called. Prime Minister Modi was in Punjab on Friday, where he laid the foundation stone for the All India Institute of Medical Sciences in Bhatinda district. During the event, he spoke about problems faced by farmers in the state and also the surgical strikes carried out by the army. Punjab Chief Minister Prakash Singh Badal and other ministers were also present at the function. Punjab, remember, is going to assembly polls in 2017.
Raising the campaign pitch in Punjab ahead of the assembly elections in 2017, Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Friday said he's concerned more about the welfare of farmers than election arithmetics. He vowed that his government would ensure that the Indus River, which is in dispute with Pakistan, will flow again in the state and provide relief to farmers.
ये इंडस वाटर ट्रीटी जो है, जिसमें हिंदुस्तान के हक का पानी है, जो पाकिस्तान में बह जाता है, अब वो बूंद बूंद पानी रोक करके मैं पंजाब के, जम्मू कश्मीर के, हिंदुस्तान के किसानों के लिए वो पानी लाने के लिए प्रदर्शन करता है.
Raking up the issue of Indian Army's surgical strike along the line of control in September, Modi asserted it has destroyed Pakistani establishments.
हमारी सेना की ताकत देखिए, 250 किलोमीटर लंबे पथ पे जब हमारे सेना के बहादुर जवानों ने सर्जिकल स्ट्राइक किया, सीमा पार बड़ा हड़कंप मच गया.
Earlier, the Prime Minister laid the foundation stone of the All India Institute of Medical Sciences in Bhatinda. The 750-bed hospital and institute will be built at a cost of 925 crore rupees and will be spread over 200 acres. He also attended a function related to the 350th Prakash Utsav of Guru Gobind Singh in Anandpur Sahib. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Meanwhile, Union Home Minister Rajnath Singh has said that the recent demonetization move will hit the finances of anti-national elements and groups. Inaugurating the 51st post-independence DGP's IGP's conference in Hyderabad, Singh said that Naxals are devastated after demonetization. He also said that they are trying to get their currency exchanged. The Home Minister further said that the government will be doing anything to stop their attempts. He also requested the Director of the Intelligence Bureau to compile a comprehensive report on how demonetization has hampered terror funding. Singh also emphasized on the need of exchange of information relating to best practices among police personnel belonging to all states and central agencies. The Home Minister recommended the efforts of the police, in fact commended the efforts of the police forces in the states, union territories and Centre for all-round improvement in internal security situation in the country. Prime Minister Modi is in Hyderabad to participate in the annual conference. Vice President Muhammad Hamid Ansari on Friday said that the 10th Sikh Guru, Guru Gobind Singh, was a spiritual leader, a poet, a scholar and a great warrior who fought not only against tyranny but also against religious bigotry. The Vice President was speaking at the function on the 350th birth anniversary of Guru Gobind Singh, which was attended by several dignitaries including former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh and Finance Minister Arun Jaitley.
Speaking on the occasion of the 350th birth anniversary of the 10th Sikh Guru, Guru Gobind Singh, Vice President Muhammad Hamid Ansari on Friday said the Guru's life resonated with a universal message that showed that the masses can be motivated to rise against tyrants and that intolerance has no place in a multicultural country. Delivering the inaugural address at the international seminar on Guru Gobind Singh, life and legacy, the Vice President praised the Guru as a saint soldier and laid emphasis on social equality, universal brotherhood, altruism and social service.
The masses can be motivated to rise against tyrants, that there can be no political unity without social cohesion, and that religious bigotry and intolerance have no place in the multicultural tapestry of this land.
Former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh, Finance Minister Arun Jaitley and other dignitaries were also present at the occasion. Manmohan Singh said that Guru Gobind Singh dedicated his whole life for the welfare of society.
These historic occasions have provided us with great enthusiasm, and they also have reposed a sense of responsibility from us to reflect upon the significance of the message of these events and their place in the contemporary order of things in our country and abroad.
On the occasion, Finance Minister Arun Jaitley released a book on the life of the 10th Sikh Guru and laid a proposal of making a film depicting his life and struggles.
Where conflicts are seen all across the world, the refugee problem, the suffering, and the greater need for what was perceived to be service, seva, compassion in our whole thought, I think really relates back and takes us back to what the Gurus did preach.
The two-day seminar will end today and will see participation from people from various fields. Kundan Kumar's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
A quick break here. We'll be back with more news in a bit. Stay with us.
When we see stars with the naked eye, we see them twinkle. And that is not because that the star itself is twinkling, it is because the light is passing through the Earth's atmosphere. Disturbances or irregularities in the atmosphere cause the twinkling. One of the Nobel Prizes in physics was given to people who studied one very particular interesting pulsar.
Watch Eureka with Senior Professor Yashwant Gupta, Dean of GMRT Observatory, Pune on Rajya Sabha Television.
Welcome back. Now, the government on Friday informed Rajya Sabha that there have been a series of cross-border terror attacks from Pakistan-controlled territories across the LOC recently, which has created an environment not conducive for holding a meaningful dialogue. Minister of State for External Affairs, retired General V.K. Singh, while replying to a written question in Rajya Sabha, also said that the Pathankot air-based terror attack mounted from Pakistan and the subsequent intensification of anti-India cross-border terrorism, including the ones in Poonch and Uri strikes, have eroded the necessary environment free from terror and violence. He was asked whether it is a fact that India's relationship with its immediate neighbors in the recent past is not so smooth, and if so, the reasons thereof and the steps proposed to be taken care of it. In fact, Pakistan also said that it is ready for a dialogue with India on the condition that Kashmir dispute is part of it. Pakistan's Prime Minister's advisor on foreign affairs, Sartaj Aziz, said this in the Pakistan Parliament ahead of his visit to Amritsar for the Heart of Asia conference. Aziz said during a debate on the LOC situation that Pakistan is fully capable to defend its border. On the diplomatic front, Aziz said that Pakistan is forcefully raising the Kashmir dispute at all international forums, also alleging that India is heating up the situation on the line of control to deflect attention from its atrocities in Kashmir. News from Delhi: and the Supreme Court on Friday suspended the licenses of all firecracker sellers in Delhi and the National Capital Region with immediate effect till further orders. In a stern action to curb air pollution during the ongoing wedding season, the Apex Court directed the Central Pollution Control Board to examine and submit its report in 6 months on the harmful effects caused by the materials used in firecrackers. It also directed the centre not to renew any such licenses till further orders. The suspension of licenses with immediate effects means that sale, purchase and stocking of firecrackers are completely banned in Delhi and the NCR region. Meanwhile, Delhi Lieutenant Governor Najib Jung held a review meeting to discuss the condition of air pollution. He flagged garbage burning and violation of construction norms as serious components of air pollution in the national capital and directed the authorities to stop the work and heavily penalize offenders. The Lieutenant Governor also formed a committee of 3 municipal commissioners to work out a comprehensive plan for cleanliness and check unauthorized construction going on in the city, and directed that a report be submitted to him by the 2nd of December. Noted journalist Dilip Padgaonkar passed away in Pune on Friday. The 72-year-old was admitted to hospital 4 days ago and died after suffering from a heart attack and multiple organ failure. Padgaonkar was the editor of Times of India for 6 years. He also served with the UNESCO in Bangkok and Paris from 1978 to 1986. He was also part of the 3-member interlocutors group for Jammu and Kashmir in 2008. Padgaonkar spoke passionately and tirelessly against communalism. Hindu nationalism and terrorism, among other issues. His thoughts are reflected in his books like When Bombay Burned and in numerous essays and articles. Vice President Muhammad Hamid Ansari condoled the passing away of Bhatgankar, saying that he was his cherished colleague in the National Minorities Commission and his passing away was a personal loss to him. Prime Minister Modi also condoled the death, saying that he was a leading public thinker whose contribution to journalism will always be remembered. Many others, including Congress President Sonia Gandhi as well, condoled the demise. More national news. And Tata Steel removed former head of Indian conglomerate Tata Sons Cyrus Mistry as chairman and named O.P. Bhatt as the interim chairman in a board meeting held in Mumbai on Friday. The board of directors removed Mistry through a circular resolution dated 25th of November, passed by majority consent. The company has decided to call an extraordinary general meeting of shareholders on the 21st of December to seek a removal of Mistry and independent director Nusli Wadia as directors on the board of the company. The move follows Mistry's ouster in October from the board of Tata Sons, the holding company of Tata Group firms, after the company criticized his performance. Since then, both Mistry and Tata Sons have been involved in a war of words, blaming each party for problems in the $100 billion salt-to-software conglomerate. International news. And a 6.7 magnitude earthquake jolted Akto County in Xinjiang province on Friday night. According to reports, one is reported to be dead. Xinhua news agency reported that according to the China Earthquake Network Center, the quake struck at a depth of 10 kilometers with its epicenter located at 39.27 degrees north latitude and 74.04 degrees east longitude. Akto County government said that the epicenter is in the coal highland areas that are sparsely populated. Police have evacuated the residents from homes at the risk of collapsing. A level 3 emergency response was activated and work teams to the quake-hit area have been dispatched. An emergency response was also initiated by the Regional Seismological Bureau. Meanwhile, according to reports, local officials reached a village near the epicenter which has about 80 households.
我们算来6度区以上的这个人员呢，大概有个4万人左右。但是呢，我们这块地方呢，安居工程实施的比较好。据目前了解，倒塌的房屋呢，只是那种老旧的房屋和一些羊圈。
Now, at least 36 people have been killed and around 95 injured when 2 Iranian passenger trains collided in northern Iran. 4 carriages derailed and 2 caught fire when a train that had broken down was hit by another train. The crash occurred at the Haft Khan station in the city of Sharud, east of the capital Tehran. The remote location of the train station had slowed down rescue efforts. President Hassan Rouhani has ordered an inquiry into the cause of the crash. State Governor Mohammad Reza Khabaz said that a mechanical failure caused by the extreme cold had forced the intercity express train to stop between stations. According to officials, more than 70 people have been taken to hospitals and the death toll is expected to rise.
خب الان در حال حاضر فعلا 2 تا هلیکوپتر مصدومین سر صحنه رو آورده، یه هلیکوپتر 4 تا و یه هلیکوپتر 3 تا. حتی آمبولانسامون دارن میارن همچنان مصدومانو و یه تعداد آمبولانس مصدومینا که منتقل شدن به با توجه به شرایط مکانی منتقل شدن به دامغان که ان شاء الله اگه شرایط باشه اونم رو جابجا می‌کنیم برای مرکز بهتر.
والا نمیدونم صبح همینجوری خواب بودیم که دفعه زمین زیر رو شد. خیلی از دوستامونم تو قطار موندن نمیدونم. آتش گرفت ما رو کشیدن بیرون ولی دوستامون 2-3 نفرشون موندن.
Now to the US, where Green Party presidential candidate Jill Stein has submitted papers to request a vote recount in Wisconsin, one of the 3 battleground states won by Donald Trump, and where she intends to challenge the results. The Wisconsin Elections Commission yesterday said that it is preparing to move forward with a statewide recount of votes for President of the United States as requested by Stein. The Commission said that the deadline for completing a recount is the 13th of December. It also said that it is calculating the fee that it will charge Stein's party for the arduous work of staging a recount. Stein says that she also plans to challenge the presidential election results in Pennsylvania and Michigan, where Trump won. Stein's campaign needs to raise millions of dollars to cover the fees for the vote recount of all the 3 states, also saying that nearly $5.3 million have already been raised towards a $7 million target. It says this is enough to fund the recounts in Wisconsin and Pennsylvania. The deadline for filing in Pennsylvania and Michigan are Monday and Wednesday of next week.
There's enough evidence here that it should be investigated. I want to be clear. There is no smoking gun. There is not something that we're pointing to say that this is wrong in Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. What we are saying is that there's enough peripheral evidence to warrant that our system should be investigated. We are not doing this to the benefit of one candidate over the other. We're doing this for the benefit of the American public so that we can trust that our votes are counted.
Sports news now, and in cricket, England have won the toss and elected to bat first in the third test at Mohali. India has made 2 changes in the team. Bhuvneshwar Kumar has been brought back to the squad in the place of Gautam Gambhir, while wicket-keeper batsman Parthiv Patel replaces Wriddhiman Saha, who was ruled out after he developed a strain in his left thigh during the second test at Visakhapatnam. On the English side, Josh Butler has replaced Ben Duckett, while Stuart Broad and Zafar Ansari have both been ruled out, with Chris Woakes set to come into the side. Team India will be eyeing to take an unassailable 2-0 lead over England, with conditions in Mohali expected to assist spinners. India lead the 5-match test series 1-0 as the 2 teams played a draw in the first match, while the hosts claimed the second test by 246 runs. Olympic silver medalists PV Sindhu and Sameer Verma have entered the semi-finals of the Hong Kong Super Series badminton tournament. In the quarter-final in the Hong Kong Coliseum on Friday, Sindhu defeated Singapore's Xiao Yu Lian 21-17, 21-23, 21-18. She will now face Cheng An Yi of China in the semi-final. However, 5th-seeded Saina Nehwal bowed out of the event as she was stunned by the Chinese shuttler Yi 8-21, 21-18, 19-21. In the men's singles event, Sameer Verma defeated Malaysian Chong Wei Feng in a straight game 21-17, 23-21 to enter the semi-finals. He will take on Denmark's 3rd-seeded Jano Jorgensen in the semi-finals. And that's all we have for you in the Breakfast News. Have a good day.